Hello everyone, this is Mr. Mahmud here. In today's video we are going to look at some non-calculator questions for the GCSE Maths November 2021 exam. So these are non-calculator questions for the Foundation GCSE Maths revision. Prior to this video, I would strongly recommend that you have a go at these questions before you watch the video, and then you can use the video to mark your answers. Or if you don't understand any steps, then you can watch the video to help you. You will find the whole worksheet on my website on www.mrmahmood.co.uk. I would also post a link on the description below. Also, you will find the other revision videos I prepared before, so please do have a look at those, and you'll find the links in the description below as well. So let's go ahead and get started. So first question, we have fraction. Adding fraction, 2/7 added to 1/5. So first of all, we need to find the common denominator. So 7 and 5, the common denominator is 35. So write two fractions with the denominator 35. So we need to find the equivalent fractions. So we need to multiply 7 by 5 to get to 35. So we multiply the numerator by 5 as well. 5 times 2 is 10. And what do we need to multiply 5 by to get to 35? That is 7. So that means you need to multiply the numerator by 7 as well. So 7 times 1 is 7. Now the denominators are the same, so we can add the numerators. So 10 add 7 is 17. So the answer is 17 over 35. That's easy, 2 marks. Next we have a fraction dividing fractions. By the way, if you need to watch the complete fractions video on adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, then please have a look at the video on fractions. The link is in the description. Now to change the mixed number, we need to multiply the denominator by the whole number. So 3 times 1 is 3, and add the 2 is 5. So that gives us 5 over 3 divided by 3/4. Now when dividing fractions, we keep the first fraction same, 5 over 3, change the sign to a times and flip the second fraction over, so that becomes 4 over 3. Now we can go ahead and multiply the numerator by numerator and the denominator by denominator. So 4 times 5 is 20. And 3 times 3 is 9. Now 20 over 9 is a improper fraction, so we can change it into a mixed number. So 9 goes into 20 twice, 2 remainder, and the 9 is the denominator. So 2 whole and 2 over 9. That's the final answer. And that's 2 marks. Now this question does not ask you to write the answer in mixed number, but you can leave it as 20 over 9 and you should get the full 2 marks. On question 2, we are adding 17.2 and 25.8. When you get a question like this, it's always easy to write down as column addition. Make sure the decimal is aligned. Let's add the numbers now. Start from the right. 2 add 8 is 10. Put the decimal down, carry the 1. 7 add 5 is 12. Add the 1, which is 13. And then carry the 1. 2 add 1 is 3. Add the 1 is 4. So the answer is 43.0, or just 43. 1 mark for this. Fraction of amounts, 1/4 of 60. So divide by the denominator. 4 goes into 60 15 times, and 15 times 1 is 15, so the answer is 15. Another way of doing this is by drawing a bar, and the fraction is split into 4 parts because the denominator is 4, so let's split that into 4 parts. Now 60 divided by 4 is equally 15, so each part is worth 15, so that's 15. This is 30. this is 45, this is 60, and we'll need only one part out of the 4. So we need one part, which is the first part, which is going to be 15. Write down the value of the 3 in 18.35. So the value of 3 is 1/10 or 3/10. So the value question C, write down the value of the 3 in 18.35. So the value of 3 is 3/10. Work out an estimate for 790 times by 289 divided by 49. Now the keyword here is estimate, very popular question in the GCSE Maths non-calculator question paper, which is paper 1. First of all, we need to round these numbers into one significant figure. So 790 rounded to one significant figure is 800. 289 rounded to one significant figure. Now if you're not sure how to round to one significant figure, just draw the line after the first significant figure. 5 or over, then that means you need to add 1 to this number, that becomes 3, and the rest of the digits turn into zeros, which is 300. And 49 rounded to one significant figure is 50. Now let's go ahead and do the calculation. So we can divide top and bottom by 10. Usually cross out the zeros, which is the easiest way to do it. And then 5 goes into 36 times. Now I need to go ahead and multiply 800 by 6. So 6 times 8 is 48, and the 2 zeros, 4,100. And that's the answer. And this question was worth 3 marks. So question 4. A plane travels at a speed of 230 miles per hour. Work out an estimate for the number of seconds a plane takes to travel 1 mile. So the formula, is speed equals distance divided by time. If you get confused, always write it down. Speed at the bottom, distance divided by time. Now we need to work out the time because we've been given the speed, which is 213 miles per hour, and it's asking us to work out estimate for the number of seconds the plane will take to travel 1 mile. Okay, now because it's an estimate, what we need to do is need to round this speed into one significant figure, so that will give us 200. Let's write this down here. I need to work out how long will it take to travel 1 mile. Okay, so if you use the formula, so we can write down time is equal to distance divided by speed. So that will give us distance divided by speed. So we need to divide 1 mile. Speed is 200 miles per hour because we rounded it, and that will give us the time. Now because the question is asking for number of seconds, how many seconds will it take to travel 1 mile, we need to change the hour into minutes, so times it by 60, and then into seconds, so times it by 60 again, and that will give us the time in seconds to travel 1 mile. Let's go ahead and do the calculation. So divide bottom by 10, top by 10, 10, 10. So I'm just crossing out the zeros, so easier way to do it, but this is quicker. And then 2 goes into 6 3 times, and then we do 3 times 6 is 18 times 1 is 18, so it's 18 seconds that will take. So the answer is 18 seconds. On the mark scheme, it's telling us if the answer is between 16 to 20, you will get the mark. Okay, so that's the answer for this question here. Question B, is your answer to part A an underestimate or an overestimate? Give a reason for your answer. Now the answer is overestimate. Because speed has been rounded down, as speed has been rounded down. because the actual speed was 213 miles per hour, and we rounded it down to 200 miles per hour because we had to round it to one significant figure, and that is worth 4 marks. Question 5. There are 120 people at a party. 1/3 of the people leave the party. Work out the number of people stay at the party. So 120 people, 1/3 of the people leave the party. We need to find out how many people stay. Work out the number of people still at the party. Okay, so work out the number of people leave. So that's 120. So 1/3 of 120, and that will give us 3 goes into 120, 40. That's 40. Now we're going to work out how many people still at the party. So 120 take away 40, which is 80 people still at the party. So the answer is 80. Question 6. Write down the square of 8. So square of 8 is 8 squared, so which is 8 times 8, which is 8 times 8, which is 64. You just need to write down 64 and you'll get the mark. Write down the value of 10 cubed. So 10 cubed, which means 10 times 10 times 10, which is 1000. It's 1 mark. Estimate the value of square root of 20. Now when you're estimating a square root of a non-square number, then before you estimate, have a think about a square number below 20 and square number above 20. So below 20 is square root of 16, which is 16. So square root of 16, we know it's 4. And then above 20 is square root of 25. 25 is a square number, and that's 5. So we know that our answer lies between 4 and 5. So which is it closer to? So it's 4 away and 5 away from 25. 4 away from 16. So that's going to be, I'll say around about, let's say 4.5. And according to the mark scheme, if you have an answer between 4 and 5, greater than 4 but less than 5, you will get the mark, which is 1 mark. So 3 marks altogether for this question here. So question number 7, we have a column vector question. So let's go ahead and write out the working. So A is 3 minus 7, B is 4, 2. We're taking away B minus, well, we're doing B minus 2 lots of A. So B is 4, 2. And we're taking away 2 lots of 3 minus 7. Let's go ahead and multiply the 3 minus 7 by 2. So 4, 2. We are taking away, which is 6. And minus 14. So let's go ahead and take away. So 4 take away 6 is minus 2. And 2 take away, sorry, that was 14 there. 2 take away minus 14, that becomes positive, minus to minus positive, so 2 add 14, which is 16. So the answer is minus 2 and 16. So minus 2 and 16 is the answer. That's 2 marks. Question 8. Bhavna drives 200 miles in 1 hour, well, in 4 hours. Work out her average speed. Now for this question, we need to work out the average speed. So previously we've seen speed is equal to distance divided by time. We can also use the ratio table. So for this question, let's go ahead and use a ratio table. Slightly different method. So 200 miles in 4 hours. So let's write down the distance here and the time here. Okay, so the distance is 200 in 4 hours, and our aim is to get to 1 hour because that's the speed in miles per hour. So let's go ahead and divide 4 by 2. So divided by 2, that gives us 2. Divide this by 2, that gives us 100. Go ahead and divide it by 2 again, that gives us 1. go ahead and divide it by 2 again. That gives us 50. So in 1 hour it travels 50 miles, so therefore the speed is 50 miles per hour. The best thing about this method is you don't need to remember any formula, but I'll do the formula way anyway because a lot of people do the formula way as well. So speed, we know distance divided by time, so distance is 200 and time is 4, and that gives us 50. Pretty straightforward question for this one. 2 marks. Question 9, work out minus 3 cubed. That means we need to multiply minus 3 by itself 3 times. Minus 3 times minus 3 is plus 9, and 9 times minus 3 is minus 27. So the answer is minus 27. Question 10, there are 210 counters in a bag. 30% of these counters are red. Work out the number of red counters in the bag. So let's go ahead and work out 30% of 210. So 10% is 210 divided by 10, which is 21. 30% will be 3 times 21. So we need to multiply this by 3. So multiply this by 3 as well. That gives us 63. And the answer is 63. 2 marks. Question 11, work out 0.06 times by 0.0003 divided by 0.01. Now for ease of calculation, I'm going to change them into a standard form from ordinary form. So let's go ahead and change the numerator. So that will give us 6 times 10 to the power of, move the decimal 2 places to the right, so that's going to be minus 2. Times by 3 times 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10 to the power of minus 4. And this is 1, 2 times, 2 places. So 1 times 10 to the power of minus 2. Now let's go ahead and do the calculation. So let's do the numerator first, and then we can divide it by the denominator. So let's do 6 times 3, which is 18. And 10 to the power minus 2 times by 10 to the power minus 4. Now when you times, we add the powers. So let's do a bit of working here. 10 to the power minus 2, and we're adding minus 4. And that will give us minus 2 minus 4, which is 10 to the power of minus 6, times by 10 to the power of minus 6. And then 1 times 10 to the power of minus 2. Let's go ahead and divide by the denominator, and then we can change it over to standard form again. Now I can see the top part is not a standard form, but we can do that later. So let's do 18 divided by 1, which is 18. Now divide the power of 10s, so 10 to the power of 6 minus 6. When you divide, you take away the powers, so minus 2. Always good to do some separate calculation because negatives can get confused. Because the two negatives here, we're going to add. So minus 6 add 2 is 10 to the power of minus 4. So times 10 to the power of minus 4. Now, because the 18 is not standard form, so we're going to change into standard form. So we're going to divide it by 10. That becomes 1.8 times, we're going to add a power there, so 10 to the power of minus 3. So the answer is 1.8 times 10 to the power of minus 3, and that's worth 3 marks. By the way, if this video is helping you, please do give it a like, and don't forget to let me know in the comments if there's any other topics that you want to look at. Question 12, a metal box has a weight of 8 times 10 to the power of 3 grams. Find in standard form the weight of 10 of these metal boxes. So weight of 8 times 10 to the power of 3 grams. So that's the weight of one metal box. And we're finding the weight of 10. So multiplying the whole thing by 10. Now 10 can also be written as 1 times 10. So if you think about 10 is also 1 times 10 to the power of 1, which we don't need to write, which is in standard form. So in this case we're going to just add the powers. So 10 times 10 to the power of 3, which is 8 times 10 to the power of 4. And that's the answer, 8 times 10 to the power of 4 grams. And this is worth 1 mark. And this is the answer in standard form. Question 13, simplify. So d add d add d add d is 4d. Some people will write d to the power of 4. That's wrong, be careful. 3f, collecting like terms, 3f take away 2f is just f, and then 4 add 6 is 10, f plus 10. Here are two fractions. Work out which of the fraction is closer to 1. You must show all your working. Now, for this one, you can possibly find out the common denominators. So let's multiply this by 7. That gives us 49 over 35. This by 5, this by 5, which is 25 over 35. Now, which one is closer to 7? Now I can see this one here is improper fraction, and this one is normal fraction. So how much is it away from 35? So let's do 49 take away 35. That is 9 take away 5 is 4. 4 take away 3 is 1. That's 14 away. And then let's do this one. Let's see, 25 is 10 away from 35. So 35 take away 25, which is 10. So we can see that this is closer to 1. So which is going to be 5/7. So work out which of the fraction is closer to 1. The answer is 5/7 is closer to 1. There are other ways of doing this, but I find this way easier. Question 15, complete the two-way table. Now when it comes to a two-way table, always find out the columns or rows which have one missing only. So we have this one here, one missing, so we can add 5 and 4 together, 9, take away from 12. So 12 take away 9 is 3. Small numbers, you can do them in your head, but always double check your answer though. This one here, there's one missing here on total. 30 take away 12, which is 18. Here, one missing. 9 take away 4 is 5. Here, 3 add 7 is 10. This one missing. So 30 take away at 19, which is 10 and 9 makes 19, which gives us 11. And finally, 11 take away 5 is 6. That's easy, 3 marks here. So always double check your answers though, and that will help you spot any mistakes. Question 16. Liz asked 20 people to name the flavor of chocolate they like best. Here are her results. So first of all, do the tally. So we've got milk. Put a line down. Plain. Cross them out as you go along so that you don't repeat them. It's a good practice. Plain. Milk. Coffee. White. Milk. Milk. Orange. White. Coffee. Plain. Milk. On the fifth one, go across so it's easy to count in groups. Milk again. Milk. Plain. Coffee. Milk. Orange. Just double check that you got the total. Well, let's count them up. So 1, 2, 3, 4 plain. Write down the frequency. Milk 5, 6, 7, 8. 3 coffee. Orange 3. And white 2. So that's the tally chart complete. That's 2 marks. On the grid, draw a suitable chart or diagram to show Liz's results. So a bar chart would probably be one of the easiest form of chart or diagram. So let's go ahead and write down the flavor of chocolate. So at the bottom we'll now have flavor of chocolate. And on the left side we're going to have the y-axis, we're going to have the frequency. Okay, don't have a ruler here, so it's going to be very difficult to draw, but I'm just going to go ahead and draw this. So let's draw the axis first. Oops, that's not a very good one, is it? Insert, see if I can find a ruler. No, I don't have a ruler here. Okay, you just have to get an idea of what I'm doing here. So draw the axes, try and draw as straight as possible. Make sure you use a pencil and a ruler. Not setting a very good example here, but don't have an option here. So we have plane to start off with. So let's start off with plane, which is 4. So let's write down the numbers here. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could have gone in 2s. Probably would be better going 2s, but I'm doing it in 1s. 4 for plane. So let's draw up to 4. That's plane. So write the first letter. Milk is 8. So milk is 8. Go all the way up to 8. Milk. Then we have coffee is 3. Coffee. Orange is 3. Orange, OR, and white is 2. W. Okay, and that's the bar chart. Make sure the bar chart is labeled, and then give it a title. Flavor of chocolate. And that's the answer for this one. And this is worth 3 marks. Just remember to use pencil and ruler, and I'm sure you can do a much better job than mine. Question 17, a frequency treat question. 60 people each took a driving test. 21 of these people were women. 18 of the 60 failed their test. 27 of the men passed their test. Use this information to complete the frequency tree. So let's go ahead and put the information down. What do we know so far? 21 of these people were women. So we know 21 women already. And because there are 21 women, that means the rest are men. 60 take away 21. You can probably do this in your head, but always good to be sure by doing a calculation. So that gives us 39 men. 18 of the 60 people failed their test. So 18 of the 60 people, we can come to that later. 27 of the men passed their test. We know 27 men for sure passed their test. So 27 there. So let's look at failed men. Failed men sounds very well. 27, 39 take away 27. Probably do this head again, but good to be sure, which is 12. 12 men failed their test. Let's go ahead and find out how many women passed and failed now. Now, 18 of the 60 people failed their test. So out of 18 people, 12 failed, 1 man. So that's 6. So that means 6 are women out of the 18. And then women passed is 21 take away 6, which is 15. And that's your frequency table, frequency tree complete. Part B, one of the men is chosen at random. Work out the probability that this man failed his test. So one of the men is chosen at random. So we're looking at men only. And what is the probability that this man failed his test? So failed is 12. out of the men altogether, there are 39 men. Because it says a man is chosen at random, not the total population. And this question was worth 5 marks altogether. Write 0.8 as a percentage. So when you find decimal and change from decimal to percentage, multiply by 100, and that gives us 80. So the answer is 80%. Write a quarter as a decimal. Pretty straightforward one. 0.25. Or what you can do is times quarter by. Write the fraction 18 out of 24 in its simplest form. So 18 out of 24. Simplest form, let's divide by 2. That gives us 9 over 12. So divided by 2, divided by 2. 3 goes into 9 and 12. So divided by 3, divided by 3, which is 3 over 4, which is 3/4. And that will give us the answer, 3 over 4. Shade 3/5 of this shape. So 3/5 of this shape. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each row. I'm going to shade in 3. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5. We shaded in 3/5 of this shape. And this question was total of 3 marks. Write a quarter as a decimal. That'd be 0.25. Similar to the question before. 0.8 as a percentage, which we know is 80. Just multiply this by 100. Write 2 to 6 in its simplest form. So we can divide it by 2. That gives us, so divided by 2, divided by 2, that gives us 1 to 3. And that's the answer. Lily has 3.4 kilograms of flour. She uses 500 grams of the flour. How much flour does Lily have left? Okay, so best way to do this question is change 3.4 kilograms maybe into grams. So that gives us 3.4 times by 1,000. It's 3,400 grams. And subtracting 3,400, subtracting 500, which she used, 2,900 grams. And that gives us the answer. So the answer is 2.9 kilograms. Kilograms or 2,900 grams. 2 marks. How many minutes are there in 3 1/4 hours? So 3 whole hours, we know it's 1 minute in 60, well 60 minutes in 1 hour. 3 times 60, which is 180 minutes. And a quarter of 60 1 hour, which is 15 minutes. So altogether we have 195 minutes, and that's the answer. That's worth 1 mark. Find the number that is exactly halfway between -4 and 10. To find the exact halfway, you need to add the 2 numbers and then divide it by 2. The midpoint will give us the midpoint. So that gives us 6 divided by 3, which is 6 divided by 2, sorry, which is 3. So the answer is 3, which is exactly halfway. Question 24. Expand. 3 times 2y is 6y. 3 times -5 is -15. Be careful with the negative. Factorize completely. So highest common factor 8 and 4 is 4. There might be something else common, so let's not just go to the answer yet. X squared and x is common. And then there's no y in the first term, so let's go ahead and start the bracket. So 8x squared divided by 4x is 2x, and 4xy divided by 4x is just plus y. So the answer is 4x brackets 2x plus y. Make h the subject of the formula. So let's write it out, be easier. So gh over 10. So let's multiply both sides by 10 first. So that gives us 10t is equal to gh, and we're making h the subject. So divided by g both sides. So divided by g divided by g. So that gives us 10t over g is equal to h. So the answer is 10t over g. And that's worth 2 marks. Expand and simplify the double brackets. Always use a grid, which helps me avoid any mistakes. You can do the lines as well if you want. But let's go ahead and do the grid. M plus 7 the top, m plus 3 on the side. And we're multiplying. M times m is m squared. M times 7 plus 7 is plus 7m. Plus 3 times m is plus 3m. And plus 3 times by plus 7 is plus 21. Notice I've written the signs out, so you know what to do with them. So let's write it out first before we add them. So m squared plus 7m plus 3m plus 21. Collect the like terms. So that gives us m squared plus 10m plus 21. So the answer is m squared plus 10m plus 21, and that's worth 2 marks. Factorize x squared minus 16, so that's a difference of 2 squared. So we can write this as x squared minus 4 squared. That will give us x plus 4 and x minus 4. And that's the final answer, x plus 4 by x minus 4. 1 mark. Another factorization question. Y, common factor. There's no other common factors. So that would be y plus 27. 1 mark. T cubed to the power of 2, multiply out the powers, so t to the power of 6. Dividing, that means we take away the powers, so 9 take away 4, which is w to the power of 5, and that's altogether 3 marks. Here are the first 4 terms in a number sequence, 5, 8, 11 and 14. Casey thinks that the number 34 is in the sequence. Is Casey correct? You must show how you get your answer. There's 2 ways of doing this. You can find the difference. So what is it going up by? So we're going up by 3. So you can carry on adding 3. So 17, 20, 23, 26, 29, 32, 35. So 34 is not a number in the sequence. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is find the n term of the sequence and then form an equation and then solve it. So let's do the other way now. So the n term is, so you're going up by 3, so that'd be 3n. So what do we need to do to 5? Well, to 3 to get to 5, we add 2. So the n term is 3n plus 2. Now let's form an equation. So we need to find out whether 34 is a number in this sequence or not. Let's solve this equation. So minus 2 from both sides. 3n is equal to 32. Now divide by 3 both sides. Now 32 is not divisible by 3, so therefore it's not a whole number. So therefore we can say 34 is not a number in this sequence. So therefore Casey is wrong. Because 34 isn't a number in this sequence, and you proved it by showing this working, or the other way was to list the numbers. Question 29, an angle question. ABCD is a rectangle, E is a point on DC, angle EBC is 25. Work out the size of the angle marked X, give reasons for your answer. Give reasons, we can put the reasons down later. Let's go ahead and work out the angle. So we know this is 90, a right angle triangle. So let's go ahead, add 90 and 25. so that we can take away from 180, because we know this is a triangle. So this shape is a triangle, and we know angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So let's add 90 plus 25, 115, and 180. Take away 115. That gives us 165. Sorry, not 165, that's just 65. Be careful with the calculations. So that's 65 degrees, and our first reason is, so write down reason 1, angle in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. That's our first reason done. Okay, now that's 65, so we need to go ahead and find out this one. Now we know this is a straight line, and angles in a straight line add up to 180 degrees. So all we have to do is 180 take away 65, that gives us 115. So our second reason is reason 2, angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. Make sure you write those reasons, because otherwise you won't get that third mark. Okay, so that's 115 here. Question 30, another angle question. ABCD is a straight line, CE equals CD. Okay, so that's the midpoint. CE is equal to CD, so that's an isosceles triangle. You can see those signs here that show these two lines are equal, therefore this angle and this angle are equal. Okay, work out the size of the angle marked X. You must give your reasons. Give reasons for your answer. So because we know this is an isosceles triangle, this triangle here, we know this is 35 as well, because the base angles in the isosceles triangle are both the same. So this is 35, this is 35, so we can find out what this angle is here. Then we can work out what this angle is later. So let's add 35, which is 70 degrees, and take away from 180, which is 110 degrees. So that's 110. This 110. So the first reason was angle in the base angles in an isosceles triangle are same. Yeah, that's 110. So that's a straight line. So that gives us 180, take away 110, that gives us 70 degrees, that's 70. Now we know this angle and this angle, now we can find out what this angle is. 70 add 50, 120, I'll take that from 180, which is 60 degrees, and if this is 60, we know the other side is going to be 180, take away 60, which is 120 degrees. And that's the answer for this one. So let's go ahead and write down the reasons. So reason number 1. Angles in a triangle at 180 degrees. Or we just said the base angles in a base angles of an isosceles triangle are equal. Then we said reason 2, angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. Reason 3 said angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees, and that's the answer for this one. A total of 4 marks altogether. quite a big question. Question 31. Margaret is going to have a meal. She can choose one starter and one main course. So we have the menu here. Write down all possible combinations Margaret can choose. Now when you write down this sort of question, always you can write down the whole word, but you don't want to waste your time. Best to write down the first letter of each item. So we can have pate and beef, so let's write down P and B, then P and S, and then P and L. Now we can do melon and beef. Have you ever had melon and beef? But don't forget to put the commas in. Melon and beef. Melon and salmon. Not even had that. Melon and salmon. Well, it's a starter, isn't it? So you're not having it together. Melon and lasagna. Melon and L. Now I'll do ham and beef, H and S, and H and L. Okay, so altogether we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now one good way to check whether you got all of them or not is because we have 3 starters and 3 main course, so it'd be 3 times 3 different 3 times 3, which is 9 different combinations, and we have 9 here, so we got all of them there, and that's worth 2 marks. Question 32. Irene sells ice cream. One day she sells 80 ice creams. The next day she sells 108 ice creams. Work out the percentage increase in the number of ice creams she sells. So to find the percentage increase, so let's go ahead and find out how many extra she sold. So 108 take away 80, so 28 more. Divide 28 by the original amount, which is 80, and times this by 100, and that will give us the percentage increase. So change divided by original amount, which is started off with 80 the first day, and then times by 100. Divide by 10, divided by 4, and then 2 goes into 10 5 times, so 5 times 7, multiply these two, which is 35%. That's the answer. There are only 7 blue pens, 4 green pens, 6 red pens in a box. 1 pen is taken at random from the box. Write down the probability that this pen is blue. So altogether we need to find out how many pens altogether. 7 add 4 add 6, which is 17 pens altogether. Probability of that the pen is blue, so which is 7 blue, 7 out of 17. So that's probability of blue pens. So 7 out of 17, and that's worth 2 marks. Write down the value of square root of 81. So 9 times 9 is 81, so that's 9. Look at the value of 5 squared plus 2 cubed. So 5 squared is 25, 2 cubed is 8, and that gives us an answer of 33. That's 3 marks altogether. Next, write down all the factors of 20. When you write down the factors of 20, always write down in pairs. So 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5, 4 and 5, and that's it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factors altogether. If you want to, you can write them in order as well. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20. That's the answer, 2 marks. With this sort of question, if you write down 3 factors on the according to mark scheme, we can see there's 1 mark for 3 correct and 2 marks for all correct. Work out multiplication question. 342 times by 24. Let's do column multiplication. You always get one of these. 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8, add 1 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. Move to the tens, put down 0. 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6. Let's go ahead and add them. 6, 9, 17. I always use my fingers, still easier. 2 add 4 is 6, add 1 is 7. 6 add 1 is 7. 6,776 is the answer. Actually, it is not. I made a mistake somewhere. So let's go ahead and check our answer. Always double check your answer. It's a non-calculator paper, so therefore you need to go ahead and check every single working. So 342, that's where I went wrong. I wrote the question wrong, didn't I? So let's get rid of all this. That's why. Once you've written your working, well, the question, always check you got the right numbers. I was thinking, where did I go wrong? So that's a lesson for you. So 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 3 is 12. Add the 1, which is 13. Go to the tens. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Being very careful here. 3 times 2 is 6. Let's go ahead and add them. 8. 6 add 4 is 10. Carry the 1. 8 add 3 is 11. Add the 1 is 12. Carry the 1. 6 add 7. 1 is 7. Add the 1 is 8. 8,208. And that's the answer. 8,208. And that's easy 3 marks. You don't want to miss those 3 marks. Okay, so like I said, always check the question first, that you wrote in the right numbers, and then do the multiplication. A vector question. ABCD is a parallelogram. The diagonals of the parallelogram intersect at O. OA is A, OB is B. Find, in terms of B, the vector DB. So you find in the vector DB. So what we need to do is we need to go D to B, so we can possibly go from D to A. This way, and then, well, DB. So question number 37. So we got the vector OA is equal to A and OB is equal to vector B. Find in terms of B the DB. So this vector here. So this vector here is, now we know that O is the midpoint. So if it's always the midpoints, that means this is B. Therefore, this is going to be B as well. So that's going to be B plus B, which is going to be 2B. So that's the answer, 2B. Find in terms of A and B the vector AB. So we're finding the vector AB this time. Let's get rid of these lines. Vector AB, so we're going from A to B, so we need to go to, from A to B, we need to go to opposite of A and the same direction of B. So that's going to give us minus A plus vector B. Okay, or in other words, we can write it down, A minus B. Find in terms of A and B the vector AD. So we this time we're finding AD here. So going from A to D, so we need to go from A to the midpoint O. Now we know this is vector B as well, because O is the midpoint, and then opposite direction of B as well. So that's going to give us minus A and minus B. So minus A vector and minus B vector. And that's the answer for this one. Total marks, 3 marks for this question. Question 38. The diagram shows a cuboid. Work out the volume of the cuboid. So we know to work out the volume, we need to multiply the length by the width by the height. and that will give us 20 times 5 is 100, times by 7 is 700 centimeters cubed, and that's the answer. Write down the correct unit, centimeters cubed. Sometimes this question you probably get a mark for the unit, correct unit, because it's worth 3 marks. 2 marks for the working, 1 mark for the working, 1 mark for the correct answer, and 1 mark for the unit. So don't leave the unit out. Question 39, a bid math question, order of operation. Let's do the brackets first. So 10 times 3 plus 5 is 8, which is 80. So the answer is 80. 1 easy mark. Question 40, here is a circle, centre O. Write down the mathematical name for the shaded region. The shaded region is sector. And here's a 3D shape. Write down the mathematical name for this shape is a prism. So we can write down a triangular prism, maybe. Triangular prism. How many faces does the shape have? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at the bottom. 5 faces. So it has 5 faces. And how many vertices does this shape have? So vertices are these corners. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vertices. And that was the last question. Okay, I hope this video helped you, and if you did, please do give it a like, and I want to say good luck with your exam tomorrow, and don't forget to go ahead and visit the website for the worksheet, so make sure you have a go at these questions first before you go through the answers. And see you in the next video, and don't forget to subscribe. Mr. Mahmud, helping you do better in maths.